Hey everyone, welcome to our show Time Out. I'm your host Trey Avant with my co-host, my brother Noah Avant, and this is a two-man webcast that discusses sports and entertainment. Before we begin, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Boca Raton Tribune on all social media platforms. Just look for at Boca Tribune on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also follow the show on Instagram at the_timeout7. Huddle up, it's time for a timeout. All right, Noah. LeBron James is hurt and Lakers are struggling. Uh, what do you think of the Lakers' chances in a potential play-in game? Because right now they're the sixth seed, but they could easily drop to seven, and that would put them in the playing game. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Hmm. This is a very sticky situation that I don't anticipate that the Lakers anticipated. This is where Anthony Davis steps up. This is where Kyle Kuzma steps up. This is where Alex Caruso steps up, and all of these other guys that the Lakers felt, so compelled to not move. Whether this be an offseason or a trade deadline. The names that I just named probably were probably asked for in that Kyle Lowry situation because the Lakers were one of the teams interested in Kyle Lowry. So this is where you earn your keep. LeBron's hurt, and even with LeBron being hurt, I think LeBron's really just resting. He said he'd never be back at 100%, but this is LeBron James we're talking about. And I really do feel like he has the ability to help them win the game, win the play-in. They are in the play-in, but that's more basketball for them to play. And then when they play a very well rested Brooklyn Nets or very well rested Philadelphia 76ers, Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, what are you gonna do? If you're the Lakers and you guys do man and they do manage to make it to the finals, you're hoping that you don't have to see any of the guys that I just named because these guys are healthy. Imagine if LeBron saying he's hurt has to see Joel Embiid in the paint. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine the Lakers probably could beat them. Imagine they had to see Brooklyn. That's the favorite coming out of the East. So let's call it how it is. Imagine they had to see Brooklyn and LeBron's not at 100%. That's scary. That's scary news. And I've said it, gone on record and said it. If the Lakers see the Nets, the Lakers are winning. But LeBron has to play. It can't just be Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis is not going to win them anything. He's going to get them there, but he probably, and even then, this is a stretch. That's a stretch because how it's looking, they'd have to see the Suns. And that's scary. So I don't know. In short, I think the Lakers probably will manage to win it, keeps to stay in and go ahead and clinch, but it's real spooky if LeBron's not playing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the Lakers will, get into the playoffs. I don't think they're gonna get a chance to play the playing game because I think they'll stay solid. LeBron said he's going to play, but obviously he's not 100%. And if something happens, God forbid, and he gets seriously injured, anytime in the regular season or in the postseason, the Lakers are in serious trouble because Anthony Davis is not going to carry them to the finals. He's not like if LeBron can't go in the first round, the Lakers aren't getting out the first round. It's just that simple. They're not getting out of the first round. Like if LeBron gets hurt, the Lakers are done. They're not winning anything. It's just that simple. Um, and that's tough. That's tough. LeBron said himself. He said, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to be 100% like ever again." And then when he said that, he re-aggravated his ankle. So obviously there's some truth to what he was saying. So Lakers are in trouble. But moving on, Russell Westbrook. the last time I checked, he was 4 triple doubles away from breaking Oscar Robertson's all-time record in triple doubles. Does that make Russell Westbrook a top 10 point guard, maybe even top 5 in NBA history? Because wait, before you say anything, I believe it was Scott Brooks that said Russell Westbrook is the #2 greatest point guard of all time behind Magic Johnson. He said top 3, but he was like, nah, he's probably #2, which means he's probably he alluded to Russell Westbrook being better than Stephen Curry, I'm gonna assume. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he. Like, bro was stretching in that whole interview. Like, okay, I say this. This makes him a top 10 point guard when he does accomplish this, because it's not an if anymore. 4 triple doubles, guy can have that between now and the beginning of the next season. So when he reaches this and eventually shatters this record, you know, top 10. Top 3? Ooh. You know, you got Chris Paul, you got Steph, you got Magic. Like, you got that's a lot of there's some guys up there. You know, so to say top 3, top 2, that's a bit of a stretch. Now, let me talk, address my counter argument. What Russell Westbrook is able to do is unmatched. And I'll even say what he's able to do is better than Magic. But what separates Magic Johnson from Russell Westbrook, from Chris Paul, from Steph Curry, and honestly, really what makes Steph Curry and Magic separate from Chris Paul and Russ is jewelry. That ring. Magic and Steph are champions. Chris Paul still chasing after his. So is Russ. And unfortunately, I don't think Russ is ever going to get to that point because he plays for the Wizards. Unless Russ goes to a team and he just goes in that mode where, you know what, we're gonna ring chase. I don't see him ever cracking that top 3. And even with 1 ring, that's still not enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. But top 3, that's not even the conversation. Top 5, we could argue that. Top 10, absolutely. But that's just
With me, I think he's already a top 10 point guard. I believe he was top 10 when he won MVP, and then he had 3 straight seasons with a triple double. For like 40 something years, no one has even averaged triple double for a single season. I believe that solidifies spot in top 10. Top 5, no, because there's just too many great point guards in NBA history, and most of them haven't won a ring. But they have accolades and just a whole bunch of stuff that puts them over Russell Westbrook. And then, like you said, the top 2 is clearly Magic and Steph. I don't agree with you said that Russell Westbrook has certain aspects of his game that are. I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent that Russell Westbrook has certain aspects of his game that are better than Magic's. Like, he's way more athletic than Magic. He's a better shooter. Magic was not known as for a shooter. He's a better shooter than Magic. But other than that, I feel like Magic is superior in almost everything. You know, that's why the reason he has 5 championships. Steph, he changed the game of basketball. And you have other great point guards in there like John Stockton, Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas. But Russ is top 10 for sure. But I'd put him at number 10. But that's just me.
Hold on. I gotta stop you. So Russell Westbrook's not a better scorer than Magic Johnson?
If Magic wasn't a pass first point guard, then Magic would be a better scorer. Because remember that time where Kareem was hurt and then Magic started at center and score like 42 points. If Magic really wanted to be a scorer, similar to Chris Paul, like, how they're both pass first point guards, but they really, really wanted to be scorers, they could easily be scorers. True or not?
Bro, Magic Johnson does not have the scoring ability of Russell Westbrook. Yes. He scored 42 at the center spot. That's cool. But let's talk about that. Let's seriously talk about that. The man was 6'9". He was a freak of nature at that time. That's why people want to compare LeBron to Magic so much, because of what he did at his size, what he could do at his size. He's not doing that in today's game. Magic Johnson lined up at the center spot against Joel Embiid. Get out of here. Bam.
I mean, he wouldn't line up at center though. He would be a point guard. He'd pretty much be what Ben Simmons is.
But I'm saying, if he was in a scenario that he was in against today's NBA, that's not happening, bro. He's not putting 42 up on none of those guys.
But I mean, if Ben Simmons could do it, I'm pretty sure Magic could do it too.
Bro, how often does Ben Simmons really have? But Ben Simmons does not have scoring games like Magic Johnson did.
I mean, you just said it yourself, like Magic wasn't a scorer.
Magic wasn't a scorer, but Magic could score better than Ben Simmons.
I mean, honestly, like career-wise, they're actually about the same.
And you know why he's about the same? Because Philly has not had anybody. Like you said, let's talk about your point. He chose to pass the ball. Imagine if he said, you know what, James Worthy, you're not touching the rock today. I got it. He's a better scorer than Ben Simmons. No. Absolutely not. Bump that. Get that out of here. Don't even put that in the same atmosphere. Get that out of here. No. Poof. Magic Johnson is not the same scorer as Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook literally is a freak of he's like that, bro. Brody? Nah, absolutely not. Now everything else, passing it, I agree with you. But I gotta get a scoring edge to my boy Russ.
Just scoring all around, like just all around in general, just scoring.
Scoring, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I give him
scoring the ball, but as a point guard, as a legit point guard, Magic Johnson is a better point guard.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he has 5 championships.
Right.
He's just great. Like there's almost nothing he couldn't do. There's a reason LeBron James is compared to him, because they're basically the same players. Just LeBron's just way more athletic.
Right.
But but moving on. Speaking of, Russell Westbrook. I've seen reports saying that if this season was just April, Russell Westbrook would be like a top 3 MVP candidate, because he's getting the Wizards into the playing game tournament. I mean, into the conversations of playing game. Mm-hmm. And he has Bradley Beal doing his thing. But going on to another, MVP candidate, putting up MVP level numbers, Julius Randle. The Knicks are, I believe, the 5th seed in the East, miraculously. And it's because Julius Randle was averaging 24 points and 10 rebounds. And he's destroying everyone he plays against, dropping 40-point games left and right. Tom Thibodeau has turned the Knicks into one of the best defensive teams in the league. But, that's what he does. That's what Thibodeau does. He's probably the best defensive coach in the NBA. Yeah. Every team he goes on becomes an immediate, top defense in the league. And what are your thoughts on the Knicks season and Julius Randle's performance as an MVP level candidate?
I'm not surprised. Julius Randle, he's been balling. And I knew when Tibbs got there, the Knicks were going to be good. I've been saying the Knicks would be good for a while. I'm surprised that Julius Randle has been playing like this. I will say this. I will say that definitely. Julius Randle has been surprising a lot of people in the NBA. His game has really developed and flourished under this new system that he's under with Thibodeau. But now to say MVP, I say he deserves to be in the race, but he doesn't win.
No, yeah, obviously not. I mean, they're the 4th seed. You know, there are people putting up greater numbers. There are better big men putting up greater numbers.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, Nikola Jokic is my MVP.
Yeah, it's
Him or
looking like
Joel
that.
Embiid, but Embiid has
Yes,
missed too many games.
it's looking like Jokic is probably going to win MVP. It's
I
looking
mean,
like
he's
that.
been playing. He's been playing like like an MVP. You lose Jamal Murray, and your team's still in the top three, top four in the West. So, I
But
mean, but
I
taking
was
it
going
back to Julius Randle,
to
I do feel like he should at least be in the conversation because he's been playing.
okay, so by definition, most valuable player. Do you think Julius Randle is just the most valuable player in the NBA right now? Obviously not the best, but like, do you think he's the most valuable just in terms of value to his team? Like, if you take him off that team plummets.
I agree, but if that's the case, I say that about Luka. I say that about Damian Lillard. I say that about Jimmy Butler.
LeBron.
I say that about Bam, arguably. I say that about Cole Anthony with these new Magic. Like when you're going off of pure MVP definition, you can say that about a lot of guys. So when it comes down to that aspect, yes, 100%. Julius Randle is the MVP of the NBA. But again, it goes back to, like I was saying, he's not doing better than Nikola Jokic. Like, although you take both of them off that team, on a healthy Nuggets team, you still got Jamal Murray. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I want to say Julius Randle, but I can't.
Well, to that, I say the most valuable player in the NBA to me. I think there's two players in the NBA that are extremely valuable. Well, three. You got LeBron, Steph, and that boy Chris Paul. Look at Chris Paul. Just going off of value, just going off of the valuable Chris Paul. Look where the Suns would be without that man. But
Absolutely.
I digress though. I digress though.
No, you're
Since
right.
wait, no, hold on. Just going back to Julius Randle. Just going back to Julius Randle. He's clearly not going to win MVP. But can he win Most Improved Player? Or will he win Most Improved Player?
That's a good question. I actually haven't even thought about that much. But yeah, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, that should be the front runner, and he should be up by a landslide. Because how he's playing phenomenal. Like, you got to give that man his flowers. Like, you really have to give that man his flowers. And I really feel like he deserves that Most Improved. Now that you bring it to my attention. But who else would you give that award to?
It's tough. It'd have to be someone who's because I was thinking maybe Colin Sexton, because Colin Sexton's averaging 24 as well, but the Cavaliers are not good. Maybe Zach LaVine, but Zach LaVine was really good last year as well.
He's been
So,
doing this. He's been doing this since Minnesota.
but this is like by far his best season.
He's been doing this though. He's been good. He's been a consistently good player.
I know, but so has Julius Randle. It's just Julius Randle has really, really exploded this year. Same thing with Zach LaVine. You gonna tell me Julius Randle was terrible before this
He
season?
wasn't terrible, but he was not good. He was okay. He was decent. He was like, okay, we can see. Like when they signed Julius Randle to a max contract, people were like, what are they doing?
I mean, he was averaging like 19 points per game last year. Like, that's not good.
I'm just saying, like, bro, people really were saying, like, why are they signing Julius Randle to a max contract? That's what I'm saying. People really were confused. Like, what is going on in Madison Square Garden? And this investment has been, in return, been an exponential to their growth as a team. So that's why I said, like, yeah, we're not gonna act like everybody's like, oh yeah, Julius Randle's been good. People really were sleeping on him.
He has been good though. It's just he's
been very decent.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Actually, no. Actually, I know someone who could be a really good front runner. Well, not front runner because I think Julius Randle has it, but a really good put up a really good fight against Julius Randle for most improved player.
Who?
Kevin Porter Jr.
Hey yo, hey yo. Off of just but like I said, off of pure definition, most improved, yes. Yes, absolutely 100%.
He dropped 50 the other night.
But where are the Rockets at on the standings?
One of the worst teams in the league.
That's why.
Yeah.
But speaking of worst teams in the league, let's talk about some of these worst coaches in the league.
Ooh.
Terry Stotts, Mike Booty Holder, Nate Bajorgin?
Pacers head coach. Pacers head coach.
Yeah, their head coach. I'm glad he sucks right now because they should have never fired Nate McMillan. Not after having this season he had where you can't even get your health, you can't get all your stars healthy and get a playoff run with good.
And look at Nate McMillan. He got the Hawks in the playoffs.
Somebody here fumbled the bag. You know, that somebody is the Indiana Pacers. And it's not a good look that he did get swept by the Miami Heat, who went on to the finals. But that's not fair to him. You didn't have Victor Oladipo, and let's be real. Victor Oladipo, if he would have played, he wouldn't have played that good because they didn't want to play with him. He wouldn't play with the Heat. He made no bones about it. If you looked at that game and you had two eyes on the screen with decent vision, you can see that he was like, yeah, man, this is going to be us next year. That's the vibes he was giving off. Even on the last game, he looked at him like, he gave him that look like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Talk to your boss. You know what I'm saying? Talk to your manager. So, I mean, these guys, they're probably going to get fired. Where is Mike Budenholzer now? Where is he at?
I mean, he's still in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's gone. Because Giannis is not having this.
Yeah, I know with the Pacers head coach, they're having a lot of problems there in Indiana. A lot of players don't like him, so he's probably out of there. With Budenholzer, they said if the Bucks don't make a deep playoff run, I mean, I'm talking about finals, at the very least, maybe conference finals. If they don't make it there, he's out of there. The team is way too good for them not to make it that far. They're out of there. And with Stotts, they said he's gone unless the Blazers make a miracle playoff run.
I'm telling you this right now. Budenholzer is gone. They're not going to make it up the second round. And even then, that team is not super good. I don't know why people keep saying that these Bucks, this Milwaukee Bucks team is all of this in the bag of potato chips. They're not.
Yeah, they're very overrated.
They're not. They're not good. They're not good whatsoever. I'll say this. Jimmy Butler doesn't get coronavirus. If we actually had a regular season, this Bucks team could very well be swap places with us. Could very well swap places with us. Us meaning that we would be a top 3 team in Miami, and they would be fighting for a play. I'm just not impressed with this team. I don't know who thought this was a good idea to get Drew Holiday and all these old granddaddy players instead of actually getting players that Giannis would be able to thrive with. You know, he signed this in his max extension because he was thinking in hopes of, you know what, we can win something here. Well, he has 5 years on this extension.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be a free agent this summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you got 4 more years now. 4 more years of losing, bud. You better hope y'all get Kawhi. Kyle Lowry.
Oh yeah, they need some help over there. I mean, because especially if they play the Heat again, it's wraps.
Especially with healthy Victor Oladipo.
Even if we don't have Victor Oladipo, still wraps.
Because we know what they can't do: shoot the ball.
Exactly. Like they're just lucky we don't have Jay Crowder again.
Right.
Jay Crowder was cooking them.
We got Trevor Ariza and Dwayne Dedmon now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But Trey, don't we got a commercial?
Yeah, we got a commercial. You are watching Time Out with the Avant Bros. If you enjoyed the show, please click the share button to share the stream with all your friends. Also, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Boca Raton Tribune on all social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for at Boca Tribune. You can also follow the show on Instagram at @the_timeout7. See you soon.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.
Welcome back, everyone. Moving on to the NFL now. I don't know what happened there. The NFL draft has passed. Obviously Trevor Lawrence. He went number one. Everybody expected that. Zach Wilson went number two. The Niners made the biggest shock of the night. The first big shock of the night. They drafted Trey Lance when everybody thought they were going to draft Mac Jones. So kudos to them. They have their franchise quarterback now. That's tough for Jimmy Garoppolo though. And the NFL draft, it came and went. So what are your thoughts on everything that happened?
Let's start with the I'm gonna say the biggest shock of the night. The Dallas Cowboys trading their 10th pick to Philly for Devontae Smith. I know Giants fans all around the world probably threw a couple punches in the air, kind of like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Boys in the Hood. Just how does a franchise have so much disdain for the other, where you literally like, yo, Dallas, you wanna make New York mad? Let me get your pick. Let me get it off you, bro. And like, I was looking at the draft board, like, well, who is Dallas gonna get? Because they really, like, the best players on the board, they don't really need. They have enough receivers. You gonna get a lineman that high? Like, you need a quarterback. Like, who really were they gonna draft?
I mean, I think they feel good. I think they feel a good need. I mean, they drafted Mekhi Parsons to be their linebacker because Sean Lee retired. And then you have Jalen Smith, I think that's his name. You have him on the other side. So it's great to have another linebacker. So you have two dominant linebackers.
But they were able to trade their pick and still pick that up. You see what I'm saying? So like,
yeah, but at the same time, like you said, the Eagles, they didn't want Devontae Smith dropping down to the Eagles. So any chance Sorry,
You
the
mean to
Eagles. The
Giants?
Eagles didn't. The Eagles didn't want Devontae Smith dropping down to the Giants. So anytime you have a chance to upset a division rival, you're gonna do that, even if it means working with other division rivals.
Yeah, but it's like, bro, you lose the game on purpose, so we don't win the division. Now you come out here, and this is what you do. Like, I feel like the Giants Eagles game this year will be one of the most watched games in America. Like, that game is going to be a very hard fought, contact filled game. If you like aggressive tackles, a lot of in your face action, good old fashioned football, that's the game you need to be tuned in on. But I guarantee you, there's going to be some fights, some ejections, maybe a couple targeting calls. It's going to be a lot of highlights being made. A lot of really good football is going to be played that day.
What were your thoughts on the Bengals drafting Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell?
The same thing I thought whenever Miami passed on them. The quarterback said we want our target. We want a receiver. I mean, do I necessarily agree with it? No. I feel like both teams could have used Penei Sewell, but the flip side of that is now that the Lions have some help on that offensive line for Jared Goff. So it wasn't all bad, but I do feel like at some point, they'll look back at this and be like, well, actually, no, I'm not even going to say that. I think they'll be good. I think that what Joe Burrow has now is that comfort. And you want that as a young QB. You want that for your young QB. You want him to feel as comfortable as he can back there in the backfield. You know, so we will see. We will definitely see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they should have drafted Sewell because Burrow was pretty much running for his life last season. I mean, he had a great season until he got hurt. He was on track to break all types of records, and then he brutally tore his ACL. You know, he's coming back. He'll be fine. You know, when training camp comes around, he'll be all right. And like you said, he has his safety blanket. You know, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, one of the greatest receivers in LSU history. Joe Burrow is one of the greatest quarterbacks in LSU history, and they had a great connection that one season. That they really played together. So he got his weapon. It's just you needed an offensive lineman, and it's not like you were hurting at receiver. Like you had T. Higgins, you had Tyler Boyd. He had targets. He had receivers. Now this receiver core is even more deadly. They have one of the best receiving cores in the league now. Like that's not even a question. But they still have one of the worst offensive lines. So it's like, I mean, they did draft a lineman later on, but obviously that lineman is not Sewell. But
I don't think it could be all bad, though.
I
don't think it could be all bad. Because look at it like this. Like you said, their receiving core was not bad. And there are teams out there with pretty decent linemen with really bad receiving cores. Hey man, let's go ahead and get on the let's talk turkey on T. Higgins. Let's talk turkey on Jamar Chase or whoever. Let's talk. Because this is a business. I have a need, you have a need. I have surplus at this position. So we can really talk. If that offensive line really truly got to that point, I would not be surprised if the Bengals made some calls. Traded one of their receivers for a lineman. Maybe some picks on top. Because these are some very high quality linemen. You know what I'm saying? So you could really flip one of your assets to cover a need now and replenish that same spot that you just lost or take care of another need in the future. So I mean, it could really go either way. But ultimately, I stand by it. I think they probably did the best decision.
But
Keep your QB happy. Don't be like Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
but before we move on to Aaron Rodgers, I just want to get one more draft related thing out the way. Well, two more, but I just want to get your thoughts on this real quick. Your boy Justin Fields is in Chicago. Matt Nagy said Justin Fields is most definitely not going to start. He said Andy Dalton is going to be the guy, but we all know that won't be the case for long. So, what are your thoughts on that?
The league is going to have to prepare themselves for for what happened. Whenever you talking about a guy like Justin Fields who lost less than 5 games as a starting QB coming out of college, and this is skill level, bro. You could teach somebody how to make smarter passes. You can't teach an athlete. You cannot teach talent. And I truly feel like whenever San Francisco passed on Mac Jones, New England were like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and pick him up. Because I guarantee you, had Chicago not traded to get Justin Fields, he'd be in a New England Patriots jersey. And that's stamped.
I don't know. Mac Jones is a Bill Belichick guy.
Yeah, but you also have a guy that can be that type of guy who can throw the ball just like any other pocket quarterback in this draft, but he can also take it out the pocket. In a sense, maybe like an upgrade of Cam Newton, if you will.
Upgrade over current Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Because Cam Newton in the past was like that.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. MVP Cam Newton was different. I'm not saying Justin Fields is going to go out here this rookie year and be MVP Cam Newton, but we're going to see. We're going to see a tremendous upgrade at the QB position in comparison to the last couple of years with their last QBs.
You're talking about the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, definitely. Allen Robinson, that boy going to be happy now.
But Tariq was happy. Tariq tweeted, he said, I like that.
Yeah. The boys will be happy. All it takes is one Andy Dalton bad performance or one injury. It's Justin Fields time. It's just Justin Fields time at that point, and that boy Andy Dalton not getting that job back ever again.
Never.
But on the last draft-related topic, we got to talk about our Dolphins. The Dolphins drafted Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips in the first round. What are your thoughts on that?
My only concerns with those picks, these are two guys with injury histories.
Mm-hmm.
Phillips with concussions, Waddle with his ankle. Both injuries can sideline a guy and hinder their play. Now, if I was Miami, I don't think I would have got Jalen Waddle that high. I would have probably tried to trade up, try to trade the 18th pick, maybe even give up a second round or third round pick for him, just so I can try to, if it was really that pressing of an issue for him. But I do feel like ultimately Tua was the ultimate decider on this. They say, hey, look, we have Devontae Smith and we have Jalen Waddle. Who do you feel more comfortable throwing the ball to? And ultimately it was Waddle. So if it's going to help the offense, so be it. I don't get paid to make these decisions. They do. But had I been in this seat, Penei Sewell would have been a Dolphin. And that'd have been nothing else to it. Now Phillips, we would have had to think about that one. I probably would have got Najee Harris. I probably would have gone ahead and get, add a stud at the running back spot. I feel like the Miami Dolphins kind of don't understand that's a position that needs to be equally as good as the quarterback, receiver, and everything else. So that to me But overall, I'm happy with our picks in the first round.
Yeah. If I had my way, if I had my way, I'd have Devontae Smith in a Dolphins jersey. And Najee Harris in the first round. But I mean, I'm not upset with our first round picks. You know, Jalen Waddle's going to be really good, hopefully. Jalen Phillips, if he's able to stay healthy, he could be really, really good. When it comes to our other picks, you know, you got Javon Holland. He's going to be, he was arguably the best safety in the draft. So he's going to be really good. Liam Eichenberg, I haven't heard much about him, but I know he's one of the top tackles in the league. I heard he hasn't gotten up a sack in 2 years in Notre Dame. So he's obviously really good. After that pick, it kind of goes downhill. You know, they had Hunter Long, tight end. Um, he's a really good tight end, but tight end wasn't really a need for us. But my theory is that they're gonna get rid of Durham Smythe eventually. And when it comes to Gesicki, if Gesicki has a great year, he's gonna demand a lot of money in free agency. And I don't think the Dolphins want to give that much money to a tight end, especially to a tight end who disappears sometimes. So I remember last year he had like 3 week stretch where he didn't catch a single pass. So a tight end that inconsistent, I don't know if the Dolphins want to give him a contract like that. So and Brian Flores didn't draft him. So that's probably the reason why they got Hunter Long, just in case they feel the need to move on from Mike Gesicki. Larnell Coleman, not mad at that pick. I heard he's had the second longest arms in the NFL draft. You know, he's a good developmental offensive tackle, so we'll see what happens there. And then we finally drafted a running back, Jared Dokes. You know, he's all right, I guess. But I mean, we could have got a running back a lot earlier. And there was like maybe like one or two running backs even then that were better than Jared Dokes. And you know, Jared Dokes wasn't even on a lot of people's draft boards, but we drafted him. So I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. He's probably not gonna have that big of a role, anyways.
I do want to point this out. There were no HBCU players drafted in the draft this year, and I feel like there's some cap there.
You know, but they are in the NFL now. They got signed as undrafted free agents.
Yeah, I mean, with those undrafted free agents, you kind of know how that goes. You know, like I hate to even be biased like this, but Mac McCain, like guy is a pure baller. I mean, he locks down. He really locked down defenders, bro. Like when we played Duke, and Duke was the hardest person on our schedule, he handled business. You know, so and he was one of the, if not the best player on the A&T defense, and that was the best defense in the MEAC, one of the best defenses in the FCS. So I'm not saying that nobody's not paying attention to the HBCUs, but I do feel like that a lot of these teams are missing diamonds in the rough. And the Broncos just got one coming out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
You know, I'm always going to be happy for my HBCU brothers who make it to the league. You know, even though they weren't drafted, you know, they're still in the NFL. It obviously doesn't matter where you're drafted. Tom Brady's the greatest player of all time. He drafted in the 6th round. That boy was ready to be an insurance salesman. So it doesn't matter where you're drafted or if you're drafted, you can still be great either way.
Absolutely. But going out of bounds, Dogecoin mania. Yes, sir. The cryptocurrency has had another skyrocketing rise in value over the past week, reaching past 50 cents. The goal for May was 50 cents. It started at 40 cents in April. The coin is now valued at 60 cents, touching and flirting with 70. You know, Trey, have you started investing in Doge yet?
No, because I don't know my password for my bank to link the accounts. So I got to figure that out. Then I can do it. Then I can start getting into the Dogecoin mania.
Yeah, man, you got to go ahead and get on that. Listen, my only advice to to like new investors. Ride the dips. When it dips, buy more. Do not panic sell. And once you have enough coins, and when I say enough coin, I mean like at least 1,000 to 2,000 or 3,000, like 1,000 plus. Then you can go ahead and start selling those because see now at that point you have money coming in. You're like, okay, I can go ahead and play with this. But long as you're constantly investing in Doge, that money you take out, the coins you take out, you're gonna get right back. You know, so make sure you guys do not panic sell. Dogecoin is the next cryptocurrency that will boom. I'm telling you all this now. You heard it here first on the timeout. And that is a hot take, just like Trey's hot take. Trey.
You got me excited. I'm about to start investing.
Hey.
But my hot take of today is Justin Fields will light the NFL on fire. You know, obviously the NFL is passed for its league, but the best quarterbacks in the league are the dual threat quarterbacks. Even though the quarterback that reigns supreme is Tom Brady, you know, he's passing the torch on to players who can now not only make plays with their arms, but make plays with their feet as well. And Justin Fields is the newest in that line of quarterback. You know, you got Trey Lance as well. Trey Lance will definitely have his shine in San Francisco. But it's going to take more time because Jimmy Garoppolo is a decent quarterback. But Justin Fields is going to get that starting spot from Andy Dalton pretty quickly. Whether it's performance or injury, Justin Fields will definitely get that starting job this year. Very similar to Jalen Hurts last year with the Eagles. You know, Justin Fields will get the starting job. Hopefully, it's early on, like Justin Herbert did, and then from that point on, he's gonna set the world on fire. Will he win Rookie of the Year? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he's in a better position than Trevor Lawrence is because, I mean, you know, Jacksonville has some talent on the offensive side, but not as much as Chicago. Definitely not as much as Chicago. Not when you have Allen Robinson and Tariq Cohen, you know. So it's like Justin Fields has some weapons he can play with. And your defense is really good, too. So, hey, Justin Fields in the Bears might surprise a lot of people next year.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They are going to be a huge problem, and they're going to scare a lot of people in their division at the very least.
And David Montgomery, the running back. But
exactly, that's the situation. But sticking to the NFC, Aaron Rodgers will not be playing with the Packers next year because he will be retiring this year. Next year. Aaron Rodgers and that situation in Green Bay is, I feel like personally, is beyond repair. Maybe not to the point of Deshaun Watson prior to, you know, all of the allegations, but nonetheless, it is still at that point where he's literally calling the owner of the team, the GM, Jerry Krause. Like that, you can't really come back from stuff like that, especially knowing the type of, you know, the type of connotation that comes with his name. So what can they do? Potentially make some trades. I know ESPN said that he could end up in Miami, could be in a 3-team trade and sending Tua to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas sending the Packers Derek Carr, and the Packers would get the Packers would send off Aaron Rodgers. A lot of wild situational things that can happen, but honestly, the Packers are feeling the heat. They're definitely in the pressure cooker right now, and especially seeing that he announced that he wanted to trade on draft day. That is literally saying, I want out of here. Now, I personally feel like had he had announced that he wanted to trade maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior, or maybe he did, and he agreed to keep it out of the media, and then that day he said, you know what? I'm out of here. Get me out of here. I'm announcing it on draft day. I'm putting you guys on the clock. You know, but I do feel like personally, even if he would have did that, the Packers would have been more likely to go ahead and make some calls. Hey man, let's go ahead and get this guy out of here. We'll trade you this, that, and the third trade a draft pick or two, they would have done something. They would have tried to talk business with somebody. But unfortunately, they haven't. And an unruly player, especially at the quarterback position, is terrible for locker room chemistry. So if they do not trade Aaron Rodgers and he dislikes being there as much as everybody else is kind of seeing, he will not be there next year. He will be retiring.
He's already making a lot of money as a game show host on Jeopardy. So
yeah,
and it's safer. It's safer.
It's a lot safer.
But all right, guys, that's it for today's show. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Boca Raton Tribune on all social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just look for @Boca Tribune. You can also follow the show on Instagram at @the_timeout7. Follow me on my personal Twitter at Trey Avant 3. Noah.
You can follow me on Instagram at Arc Builder Noah. You can follow me on Twitter at Who Builds Arcs.
Timeout airs every Thursday at 7 p.m. As always, this is the Avant Bros signing off.
Congrats to the 2021 grads. We did it.
Yes, sir.